Uh, it went all right. I get a little bit under the weather today, but we're going to persevere. But anyways, welcome everybody to our team training call. We've been a couple of weeks since we've been on, and it's really good to be back. And my sister and I, who's my dear friend and partner, and tonight's co-host, we were just sort of discussing, some things that we could talk about on our training calls, and lo and behold, we were sent a video that was on self-discipline. And one of the things that I believe is one of the toughest things to do when you're in business for yourself, and some of you may agree or disagree, is having the self-discipline to do the work and do what needs to be done to move forward in sharing our technology or in anything really, in doing yard work, whatever. I mean, I can be the ultimate procrastinator sometimes as well. But certainly, hearing from, people that have built big businesses, people who have been, in this case, Marcus Aurelius, who was one of the last emperors of Rome, 180 AD, and they say that he's one of the last of the 5 good emperors at the time in Rome. But Lori and I listened to this video, and we thought that it had some amazing points in it, and we thought we would share. I mean, what were you had some great takeaways as well, Lori, and felt that the field could benefit from it. There's lots of good stuff on YouTube, and it's always great to hear associates in the spotlight, but we just wanted to change it up this week and just kind of have an open forum after we listen to this video, and then we can discuss your thoughts around that. Does that sound fair?
I liked this video because it was sent to us by a young person who's a student, and a very diligent one at that. And her comment was, I want something that's sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
And so with that kind of, mindset, I think it's a good approach to listening to this particular video, especially knowing that it's come from a young person who I hold very dear and have a lot of respect for. And she's in school, and she is really legit in terms of what she wants to do with her life. And she's legit in terms of some very trying times for young people. So the idea that it came from her kind of opened my eyes, and I thought, yeah, I'm going to lend an ear to this. And I thought, I think more of us should hear this. I think it's not sugar-coated, as I said in a post to the Women of Vox Life today. But it's worth the listen, and it's worth the introspection.
Yeah, let's have a listen. I'll skip the ads here and we'll get right into it, and then we'll open it up to the floor. So sit back and enjoy, folks.
If you want to build self-discipline, you'd do well to listen to the words of Marcus Aurelius. He was the emperor of Rome from 161 to 180 AD, considered as the last of the 5 good emperors. During his rule, Aurelius found the time to construct a series of autobiographical writings, now known as the
Just want to make sure, can everybody hear that?
I can.
Everybody can hear it? Okay, good. I'll keep going. Sorry.
Meditations. In these writings, the Roman emperor offered a number of key insights on how to build self-discipline. Here are 10 of the most important of those insights for self-discipline from the writings of Marcus Aurelius. Number 1. Self-discipline starts with finding your purpose. Marcus Aurelius says, I have to go to work as a human being. What do I have to complain of if I'm going to do what I was born for? The things I was brought into this world to do. Or is this what I was created for? To huddle under the blankets and stay warm? Marcus Aurelius believed that we each have a purpose, something that we were created for. It's our duty to carry out that purpose because it's purpose that gets you out of bed each morning. If you have a clear understanding of your goals and how your task fits within them, you're much more likely to complete those goals. For example, say you have a flat tire and need to change it. Your purpose is clear. Change the tire as quickly as possible so you can get on your way. You're going to do that task no matter how tired you feel. The biggest source of self-discipline is to have a reason to do the task. If you don't know what to do, just start. If you want to be a writer, write every day. If you want to be an artist, draw and create every day. Anything you want to do, you don't need any more motivation or research or advice. You just start practicing something you're interested in and tackle every day as it comes, because it's your purpose that will give you an internal desire, drive, and motivation to propel you forward towards your goal. Self-discipline is about finding compelling reasons to do something, then committing yourself to see that task or activity through to the very end. Number 2, count on yourself. According to Marcus Aurelius, you should turn your desire to stone, quench your appetites, keep your mind centered on itself. After you have a solid purpose, it's time now to build a practical plan of action to help you accomplish your goal. You shouldn't just commit to your goals, but commit to all the little actions that you'll take along the way in pursuit of those goals. We must be fully committed to doing whatever it takes to get the job done, no matter what challenges get in the way. Self-discipline is the ability to get yourself to take action, to do what you need to do, regardless of your physical, mental, or emotional state. Everything you want in your life, everything you want to have, depends on your ability to get yourself to take the necessary actions to achieve your goals, whether you feel like it or not. You can start with forming an effective plan of action that is comprised of a deadline for accomplishing your goal. It must also be built on the foundation of mini milestones that break your goal down into manageable chunks. Mini milestones will ensure that you're working towards your desired outcome in small pieces and time blocks. This tactic puts you in the driver's seat. It gives you a sense of control over the tasks and projects that you're working on. What you're ultimately trying to avoid is succumbing to being overwhelmed. Overwhelming can quickly digress to procrastination, and procrastination can subsequently lead to stagnation. And of course, where there's stagnation, self-discipline cannot exist. Number 3, show up every day. Marcus Aurelius says, you must build up your life action by action and be content if each one achieves its goal as far as possible. And no one can keep you from this. Even after having a solid purpose and a practical plan, 95% of us fail to achieve our goals. We fail because we fail to be consistent. We need to show up every day and put in the work. The simple act of showing up and immersing yourself in your craft does wonders for mental endurance. You build focus and come to terms with the arduous process that it takes to achieve anything great. You have to put in countless hours of work before you reap any of the benefits. Self-discipline is nothing more but the habit of consistency. Finding the motivation to do something again and again until you do it on autopilot and start seeing results. So even if you fail once, for example, if you didn't exercise when you know you should have, this doesn't define your character. Your ability to keep going is what molds you into a disciplined and strong person. A bad day doesn't have to become a bad week. A bad week doesn't have to become a bad year. The moment you wake up, remember that new day is a new life, and move forward by opening your eyes and focusing on what's in front of you, which is life itself. Number 4, practice voluntary hardship. In the words of
With MailChimp, you can design beautiful marketing assets in no time at all, thanks to MailChimp's AI-powered creative assistant.
Marcus Aurelius, we should discipline ourselves in small things, and from there progress to things of greater value. If you have a headache, practice not cursing. Don't curse every time you have an earache, and I'm not saying that you can't complain, only don't complain with your whole being. Voluntary hardship is one of the ways we can build our self-discipline. Voluntary hardship means constantly testing ourselves, and by making life routinely uncomfortable in some way, we're hardening ourselves for the day we need to live it for real. A voluntary hardship might be skipping a meal and going hungry for a night, having a cold shower, not smoking, sleeping on the floor, leaving your jacket at home when you know it's cold and raining out, or donating half of your clothes to charity. You could choose to go without social media for a few days or throw your smartphone in the drawer. Do it often enough, and you begin to understand what scarcity and hardship feels like, and that you can live with both if needed. Number 5, practice dichotomy of control. Marcus Aurelius says, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Being distressed, being bothered bothered by small things instantly is terrible for discipline. You have a goal, you're working, and then thoughts and distress about something external, meaning it's out of your control, derails you. The best thing you can do in these circumstances is to apply Epictetus's dichotomy of control. Reinforce to yourself what's within your control and what is out of your control. If you embrace what's out of your control and accept it, you'll experience tranquility. Refer to the following wording next time you're distressed and distracted. Do you have a problem in your life? No? Don't worry. Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. And don't worry. No? But don't worry. Number 6, never play the victim. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, do your job without whining. Have you said any of these? I was just born this way. I never learned anything different. My parents set a terrible example. Everyone else does it. What are these? Excuses that people use to justify staying as they are instead of striving to become better. You need to assume responsibility. The why me mentality is an enemy to mental toughness. You might not be at fault, but your life depends on you determining what's within your control and taking those things into your own hands. You must train yourself to frame these things this way instead of immediately resorting to self-pity. It's certainly easier to pawn off blame on others. Only those with a degree of mental fortitude are able to step up, even when it's not their fault, and right the ship. Be that person who steps in to take action, not the one who looks the other way and casts blame. When you victimize yourself or your current position, you relinquish control and absolve yourself of personal responsibility. And without a sense of ownership, meaningful progress becomes an impossible task. Number 7, practice delayed gratification. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, so you were born to feel nice instead of doing things and experiencing them. Don't you see the plants, the birds, the ants and spiders and bees going about their individual tasks, putting the world in order as best they can? And you're not willing to do your job as a human being? Why aren't you running to do what your nature demands? Delayed gratification involves the ability to wait to get what you want. Imagine a company Christmas party when you encounter platters of delicious and tempting food when you're trying to lose weight. If you give in and fill up your plate with fattening goodies, it might derail your diet, but you will get to enjoy a bit of instant gratification. If you manage to resist and spend the evening eating salad and munching on carrot sticks, then you'll presumably receive an even greater reward down the line, shedding those unwanted pounds and being able to fit into your favorite pair of skinny jeans. This ability to resist temptation and stick to our goals is often referred to as self-discipline, and delaying gratification is often seen as a central part of this behavior. We put off what we want now so that we can perhaps get something else, something better, later on. Number 8, ignore naysayers. Marcus Aurelius says, when another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what sort of people they are. You will realize that there is no need to be racked with anxiety that they should hold any particular opinion about you. Whenever you step out from the norm and declare, even if only to yourself, that you believe you have a special purpose in life and that you're going to do whatever it takes to achieve it, you will attract naysayers. Naysayers are the people who criticize, object to, or oppose something. The naysayers just love to say nay. They might love you, but they're afraid of progress, so they're against everything, and their opinions are just terrible for your self-discipline. You need to realize that allowing yourself to be upset by the opinion of someone you don't know or don't respect is as foolish as getting upset about the weather. It's a waste of energy. Their voice does not deserve to be heard. Don't hand over your peace of mind to outsiders to disrupt as they please. You should actively seek honest feedback from those you respect. But if someone just has a history of being a naysayer, ignore them. Number 9, find wise people to emulate. Marcus Aurelius says, it'll even do to socialize with men of good character in order to model your life on theirs, whether you choose someone living or someone from the past. It's time now to look outward for answers to help strengthen your self-discipline. Specifically, let's identify role models. Your role model could be your friends, family, or colleagues who've already achieved the goal you're working towards. Ask yourself, who's doing this right now? Who's successfully achieved this goal? Who has successfully mastered this habit? Who has successfully made this change? Who has the necessary self-discipline in this area? And what can I learn from this person that can help me along my journey? Take time to ask these people how they disciplined themselves. Ask them how they followed through with specific actions that got them their desired outcome. Then use their experience to help you discipline yourself along your own personal journey. Number 10, honestly review your day. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, these are the characteristics of the rational soul: self-awareness, self-examination, and self-determination. It reaps its own harvest. It succeeds in its own purpose. One of the best ways to become more disciplined is to scrutinize yourself and find your weak spots. Be brutally honest and use this time to connect with your subconscious. Practicing evening retrospections on a consistent basis will allow you to become more self-aware through every step of your day, because you will be actively gathering information to formulate and articulate constructive answers to these questions. Ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where were my discipline and self-control tested? Where did I do good? What did I do bad? Why did this occur? And furthermore, how can I improve? Now you know how you can improve tomorrow, but don't beat yourself up. Be like Seneca and forgive yourself. Have some self-compassion. Research shows that it's forgiving yourself, not beating yourself up, that prevents you from continuing to put things off. And don't just be critical of yourself. Think about what you did well so you can repeat it tomorrow. Be grateful for the good. This video, please do make sure to check out Stoic.
There we go.
There's a few little moments where things cut out, just briefly. So I wrote the 10 things down. If you want me to just run through them, and then we can chat about it.
Sure, why don't we do that?
Okay. It is really good info, Karen. I thought so too. I found it very balanced, and I found it very honest. And we need to be honest with ourselves. But here's one thing I would say. There's a lot of fractured people out there, myself included. And I had to do a lot of introspection and personal work to be able to get to a place where I could love myself and kick my own butt at the same time. So I like this video for that reason. And so let's go through the list of 10. Number 1 is find your purpose and apply yourself to small goals every day to achieve your purpose. Number 2 is, let me see if I can read my own writing here. Count on yourself. Be fully committed and develop a plan of action, because being overwhelmed leads to procrastination, and procrastination leads to stagnation. So I remember we used to listen to a teacher, Terry, who said, if you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, sit up. If you can't sit up, then lay down, but raise your arms. So there's always something we can do. And that's very critical for mindset and mental health. The third point is show up every day and build your focus. It's good for your mental well-being. A bad day does not have to be a bad week. And I think that's really good too. It's this idea of nobody's perfect, but if we're challenging ourselves, then we can give ourselves a little bit of credit. Number 5 is practice dichotomy of control. So basically that's saying, learn what's within your control, acknowledge it, and then learn what is not in your control and don't dwell on it. Because you can always stay busy, right? There's days when we have to rest, and I get that, but we shouldn't have to rest every day. We should be able to drive kind of hard, and then once we feel like we're a little bit out of steam, then take a break and then get back to it. Because I loved his point about purpose. Like, we haven't been created to kick back in our easy chairs and just indulge ourselves. That is not good for mental health, and it's certainly not good for our communities. The next point, number 6, is never play the victim.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, that's big. And you know what? I think I played the victim in my day, and I had to really learn that that's what was going on.
Mhm.
I was in need of sharing, blowing off emotional steam or whatever. But there's a time and a place for that. And I learned that that needs to be compartmentalized and shared with the proper people, not just everyone out there that will lend you an ear just because they don't want to be rude.
Mhm.
Yeah, so mental toughness is so key. I liked what he had to say about be the person who steps up. And I believe that, you know, our people are those people. Our
Mhm.
Vox Life teammates are the people who, you know, we've never had a problem, Terry, getting volunteers to do some things, to work on our opportunity events, to show up for sharing on our team calls. And so I really feel blessed and honored to be amongst these people that we call our friends and teammates.
Of course.
Okay, practice delayed gratification.
Mm. That's a tough
That's
one.
something, hey?
I want ice cream. I want ice cream.
I saw that last night. You must knock it off.
I didn't have it though.
You did it? Oh, good. I
But
just put a little note down here.
that's that was our dad's problem.
Yeah, it was. Yep. Well, at least we didn't take it off him. We learned a little bit about the downside of not delaying gratification. So my little note here says, wait for it. Oh, I see my picture's frozen. Oh, well. Oh, good point, Karen. Do you need it or do you want it?
Mhm.
Number 8, this is a good one. Ignore the naysayers.
Mhm.
Well, you will attract naysayers when you step out and you want to, you know, be a bit of a leader and or a difference maker. You will attract naysayers, but you'll also attract the yes sayers. And our experience is testimony to that. We attracted a lot of people who saw things the way we saw them and felt like what we had was an important thing to share with the world. My husband has an expression. It goes like this. You'll know it, Terry. Absorb and discard.
Mhm.
And I think that's a good one. We have to own what is ours to own, but we have to let the rest that's not true, you know, go, so that we don't dwell on it and we don't let it consume our energy.
Mhm.
Number 9 is find wise people to emulate. And I definitely know that we have found a wise person to emulate in Jay. And here's what's kind of cool. Jay's calls lately have been ones that have shared really healthy mental health philosophies. So he referred us to that article that talked about the difference between dopamine stimulation and serotonin stimulation. That was super helpful. Dopamine is that quick hit, and serotonin is that longer lasting kind of contentment as opposed to pleasure that the dopamine initiates for us. And I found this fascinating. Dopamine is actually neuron destructive in the brain, and serotonin is neuron building. And I found that fabulous. So dopamine is indulging of your temptations, I would say. And serotonin is building a peace and a contentment in your life. Makes so much sense to me.
Mhm.
And then the last one, number 10, is honestly review yourself and your day. So, like I said earlier, you have to take care of yourself, but you have to kick your own butt sometimes. And if someone else is sharing something with you along those lines, then you get to decide, does it apply or doesn't it? And if it applies, then own it. And if it doesn't apply, then I wouldn't hang on to it. I really wouldn't. It's too much to carry. And everybody's going through their own deals, right? So anyways, I'm glad. It seems like from the chat, people have appreciated.
I think that the important thing is on number 10 is to reward yourself for the small victories. We tend to always want to reward ourselves for the big victories, and reward yourself for the small victories. It doesn't always have to. And as he said earlier on, I'm not sure what it was. Break it down into small segments. Your goals. Break it down into small segments. And so many times, I think we tend to be glass half empty at times rather than glass half full. And we should reward ourselves for the little milestones, the mini milestones that we, have achieved in that particular day, no matter what it is. I mean, it might be as simple as changing a tire. It might be as simple as getting a load of laundry done. And so often we may look at it and say, geez, I should have got 3 loads done. Well, yeah, you should have maybe, but you didn't. So don't worry about it. There's always tomorrow, right? A bad day doesn't have to be a bad week or, a bad year or a bad month. So that really resonated with me. So if anybody wants to unmute and make a comment, love to hear from you.
I just want to share something Mia posted this week. Mia said something about the glass half empty, the glass half full, but let's remember the glass is refillable. And that's something that was said in this video, something along the lines of every new day is a new life. Okay, I'll shut up now.
So what part of this was needed for those out there? I see Sherry's unmuted. Sherry? No. Okay, somebody, Paul Vanaveen. There, go ahead, Paul.
Good evening, everybody. The one thing that I wanted to mention it was a very, very good little presentation. I loved everything that was in there. The one thing I wanted to point out that I feel, for me, there isn't a day goes by that, I have a challenge or I have something that kind of, an obstacle that gets in the way or whatever. And, for me, it's like, I have to ask that whole thing about, is it something I can control? I think, I don't know how many days, how many times a day sometimes that I stop for for 30 seconds or a minute or whatever, and I just breathe. I say the serenity prayer, and that brings everything back into focus for me, because it's all about, for me anyway, it's all about realizing, what I can do, what I can do to change something, and what I can't do, no matter how hard I try, what is not within my power to change. And I think a lot of times that just helps me kind of refocus and start fresh from that point, right? And just
Good advice, Paul. Really good advice. That serenity prayer. That just says it all, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I always remember my good friend Elsa, my teammate. I always love what she says. She's always saying, bless and release, bless and release. And you know what? That's when you stop for a moment and you do that sort of thing. That's exactly what it allows you to do, and then you move on. So,
yeah. You can't be beating yourself up all the time, or you just live in a world of misery, as far as I'm concerned. And in everything that we do, it's those small joys that add up to fulfillment, I think, Paul. And just as simple as saying the serenity prayer. When you're done saying that prayer, I'm sure it gives you fulfillment. You feel good after you do that, right? And so great point. So thank you, Paul, for sharing. Dukes, you unmuted, buddy? Try it again, Dukes.
There, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now we got you.
I thought I muted myself. I guess I was too quick and draw. I said, me and Marcus must be related, man. Like I'm looking down this list. Like I think got a B+ or an A on this grading scale here. So pretty stoked. But I guess for the two big ones for me, 2 and 8, which is count on yourself, which I've realized that I can only control what I do.
Yeah.
I can't control other people's actions, their responses, whatever. All I can do is what I can do. And ignoring the naysayers, you know, when you've seen what you've seen, and when you talk out of that position of, I'll say, confidence, that's a very powerful place to be. And so I know that what I know about this journey with this tech, and whatever somebody else thinks they know, they don't know what I know, but I'm always learning. And so that has been a big part for me of just think back of when we first started, of what we had to work with and where we are now. You had to have some type of powerful belief system built in to go on this going, because you can't see it. It doesn't make any sense. But the power of the story was something you could not refute, because it was actually something that happened. So that's my 2 cents. And
Hey, Dukes, on that note, did everybody get the chance to see, I think the girl's name is Chanda or Chandra Whitefoot. She put up a testimonial in Vox Life Testimonials today, and I was really moved by it. She told us in her post that she had cancer of the bowel, colon cancer, and IBD. I assume that's irritable bowel disorder. Anyways, she hasn't been able to eat, and even crackers would cause her to become nauseated. She's been wearing the Neurovax patch, and she's been able to eat again. Now, talk about the simple things in life that we all potentially take for granted. I just thought the story is powerful, and that particular story caught my attention, and I just thought, what would it be like not to be able to eat?
Yeah.
And few of us know that experience, but not a lot of us do. And so I just, hats off to her for sharing that testimonial, and just a reminder to people to check out those testimonials. And you know, it's word searchable, so it shouldn't be hard to find something that can be something that is shared with somebody that you meet, and maybe want to give some help to, and just get, you know, them to listen through a story. Yeah, so a little plug for Vox Life Testimonials. And you're absolutely right, Kevin. You have said bulletproof all the way along this journey, and you're right. We're still here, and we've got some infomercials coming at us that are going to allow us to spread the message even further.
Karen Smith. Hi,
Good
Karen.
evening, everybody. Hello, Terry.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too, and my whole Vox Life family. It was a very, very good video. Just going on or off of what Kevin said about, you know, only looking at what you can control and not worrying about anything else. The one thing that I started to do a couple of years ago is, when I get up in the morning, I don't wait to see what's going to happen for me during the day. I decide what that day is going to be like. I don't let the day control me. I take control and say, today's going to be a great day, and this is what I'm going to do. And I think, you know, with a lot of the ones that may be new, you know, it's easy for us to get into, you know, that old, they're talking about, you know, looking at other people and just worrying about what you can do. And the compare-itis can kick in. It's very easy to do.
Sure.
And one of the other things that I wanted to mention too is, I know even with myself, I've got a few people on my team that, you know, they've been through a lot of stuff, whether it be illness or, you know, whatever it is. And, you know, you talk about taking your day, and I always tell them, just split it up into like 15-minute chunks.
Yeah, great point.
right? And if you have to take an hour break, then you take an hour break. I mean, I start my day off every morning with a 15-minute walk. That's how I start. Doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, or whatever. I go out for 15 minutes because that's what gets my brain going and gets things going. And then I split everything into 15-minute chunks. And we talk about, doing the work. I schedule these calls into my agenda. I schedule my dinner in my agenda. I schedule my team calls, and like every single thing that I'm doing during the day is scheduled in those 15-minute chunks. So even if you're going through something, you only get 2 or 3 15-minute chunks done during the day. That's something that you've achieved. Like you said, celebrate every little milestone rather than, oh my gosh, I just wasted 6.5 hours and I only worked a half an hour. But you worked a half an hour. It was better than not working at all, right? So I think we tend to be a little hard on ourselves, but I think in that daily method of operation of doing the work every single day, it doesn't mean you have to do 8 hours worth of work. If you can only get 4 or 5 in, or 1, you got to do something, because that one thing that you did that day is going to carry on to the next day, because that's going to be something that gives you some fulfillment. And when we talk about compelling reasons, it's like, Lori said, like, leverage those testimonials. We have enough compelling reasons to share this with just what's in that testimonial group.
Well, I think that's a great point, and a lot of times, Karen, we had planned to see 5 people or to share it with 5 people or 3 people or whatever, and we only got to 1 person. But perhaps maybe that one person is somebody that is the one that we affected the most, right? And so we tend to look at the other 4 that we should have seen instead of focusing on the one that we did see and the one that we did make a difference to. I mean, Norm LeBlanc put a post in the Business Builders about how he gave a couple patches to a guy, and the guy called him and said, I'm kind of skeptical, but I really think these patches work. I want to buy some. So, he was maybe thinking of not doing that or not giving those free patches. So we got to focus, I think those things, daily method of operations, are things that we all set. We all have the best of intentions at time, but when we don't get it done, we tend to want to beat up on ourselves. And I think that Marcus Aurelius says, reward yourself in the small victories, as we said before, and you'll get better at doing the things that you expect to do in your daily method of operation. I believe if you can just reward yourself for those small victories and take joy in what you did do today, as opposed to what you didn't do. Does that make sense? So who else has got a comment here? Anybody want to put their hand up or unmute? Jeanette? You got to unmute, Jeanette. Jeanette, you're muted. I've lost her.
Got it.
There you go.
Took me a little while. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Nice to see you, Jeanette.
Thank you. For me, I don't know which number it was. One thing that I learned about, I'm trying to get the English word. When you do something, not something wrong, but something you would have liked to do, or even though you did something wrong, or you say something to somebody and you hurt them and everything like that. One thing that I learned is take that moment, think about it, find what was wrong, leave it behind, and concentrate on the positive and put it for tomorrow.
I like that. Leave it behind.
Yeah, it took me a long time to be able to, because I was really criticizing myself. I was never good enough. And eventually I said, okay, I'm going to take a problem, leave the bad behind, concentrate on on what I can control. I guess it's coming back to what we're saying. I couldn't control the bad thing,
Mhm,
but
mhm,
I could control myself tomorrow.
mhm.
So this one thing that I learned over the years. So it helped me a lot.
That's a
Jeanette,
good,
my husband has an expression and it says, it goes like this: there's no mistakes in life, there's only lessons.
And anybody who doesn't do mistakes, they're 6 foot under the earth.
Well, here's the key. We have to learn the lessons or we're bound to repeat the mistake, right?
Just we have to make sure we have to learn from them at least.
You're
absolutely.
looking beautiful tonight, my friend.
Thank you. I've been trying.
You always look
And
wonderful,
and
Jeanette.
actually I'll just say one thing. I don't know, maybe because I feel better, maybe because I have more confidence, or
Mhm.
I've been having I don't know, compliments and everything lately. It's like
Aw.
I think I reflect what I feel.
Yeah,
And
sure you do. Yeah,
hey,
I think you do for sure. You reflect how you feel for sure.
yeah, and I feel much better. So
Good
Oh,
for
I'm
you.
happy to hear that, Lovey. Because you were
I,
struggling with some things there for a bit.
yeah, pain. I had physical pain for a while, but just to say, I'm not working Tim Horton no more. So
Oh, that might be helping.
one day I came back from work and I was in so I came down from 40 hours and came down, but repetition work, and I chose. I didn't leave. I chose to leave, and I said, no, I'm not going to do that anymore. So and I'm okay.
Self-care.
Good girl.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Bravo. Good.
We
Yeah.
Thanks.
can't fulfill our purpose if we're broken.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, purpose is what gets us out of bed. So once we understand our purpose, then it can give us the right direction to go. And if that for you was not doing what you were doing anymore, then bravo. Good for you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing, Jeanette. I'm going to ask Cheryl Gauthier. Go ahead and unmute, Cheryl. Nice to see you.
Hi there.
Hi, Cheryl. How you doing?
Good.
Good.
So one of the important things to me is take small chunks and don't worry about what you didn't get done. Just keep working.
Mhm.
Because and I'm kind of a perfectionist, so I like to, up till now, that's what we're supposed to say, right? Up till now, I've liked to know all about everything before I start something. Like I don't like to dive into something when I don't know what I'm doing.
Mhm.
The new saying going around is imperfectly done beats perfectly not done all day long.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just have to do things and say, okay, I did well and it's good enough. I don't have to do things perfectly.
Yeah, and that's a great point. I think any tradesman wasn't great when he started, right? And if he beat himself up, he wouldn't continue in his trade. So whether it's a doctor, a nurse, whatever, electrician, carpenter, they all got, great through failure. And athletes are the same way. And so, having the self-discipline to get up every day and not being afraid to fail is key to supporting self-discipline. So many people, I believe, are afraid of, what they might consider failure. And as Lori said, there's no failure, there's only lessons, right? And so I think that's a very, very good point, Cheryl, to make that, get up every day and practice your craft, whatever that may be. And if you make a mistake, then you learn from it, right? And, most people that make mistakes don't do them too often anymore after they do them, right? So it's also a lesson. So, great point. Thank you for sharing. Okay, anybody else got their hand up?
I have a plaque, Terry, that says that I am perfectly imperfect.
Mm.
It's just a good reminder to not.
Well, I think this video is a great reminder to help us fire us up, right? There's lots of, self-motivation things on YouTube and so on, but this one was a little different. This is about taking ownership of things. And so many times you can have somebody have their pom-poms on and rah, 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 rah,
Yeah.
rah for you,
Yeah.
and it doesn't necessarily get you motivated. This is about self-discipline. This is about, any great athlete that and Dukes will, certainly concur with this. Any great athlete has great self-discipline to be the best that they can be. And so when they don't feel like getting up every morning and doing their workout, they do it. And so I think for all of us here, understanding what our purpose is in that day, in that hour, and just attack it and do the best you can, and then give yourself a high five. Ray Higdon is huge on doing the dancing and rewarding yourself, and doing a dance and celebrating your successes. And so I think with those small celebrations, they certainly would help us be more disciplined, because now all of a sudden I think you get a thirst for rewarding yourself, and so you tend to go into action more often. And it's not about necessarily how much you accomplish in a day, it's about what you accomplish in a day, right? And I think that's a big difference. So many people get overwhelmed because they try to do so much, and then they're upset, and it's like gloom, despair, and agony on me. I suck. I don't, blah, blah, blah. And we can't do that. I mean, we gotta celebrate with our teammates, and we gotta get up out of bed every day, and whatever our purpose is for that day, then take a run at it. And if you don't get it, who cares? Take a run at it the next day. It doesn't have to be a bad day or a bad hour. It doesn't have to be a bad week or a bad month or a bad year. So great points from Marcus Aurelius. So Heather, can you unmute? There you go.
There. I think one thing that we can add to our list, and I think it's part of number 9 and a lot of what you were just saying, Terry, is celebrate our small victories, but emulate other people and celebrate other people's victories too. And it doesn't really matter if they're on our team or just somebody else in our Vox Life family. Praise them when they do something that you think they've done really well, or because it makes us feel good when somebody does that for us. So pass it on. I think any little victory is good to celebrate with our teammates. And I congratulate you on finally retiring. It's taken a while to her in. She feels so much better for it.
She looks like $1 million. And you know what else is this, at least your point, Heather, in celebrating other people's victories, is further to what Jay was sharing about gratitude. He talked about how gratitude makes us feel, but he also said that extending gratitude for the things other people do is an even like higher high, if I can put it that way, in terms of the brain. And, I watched a girl on Facebook today doing a workout, and man, I thought to myself, that's me. That's why I don't go to a gym. I wanted to send her a message, and she was just somebody who had a story up, and I couldn't really send her a message, but I have to say that her spazzy confidence was really inspiring.
Oh, you're funny, Laurie. But you're so right. That's, it's not about perfection for sure. It's about doing the do, right?
Doing the do. Yep.
Doing the do, right? So, I think that, as Heather said, I've seen posts before that said, is it me or am I crazy? I love to see people being successful, right?
Yeah.
And celebrating other people's success it's so good for you, right? When you can high five somebody and send them a note, send them a personal note or whatever, and just celebrate their success. I think it's so powerful for us, because I think what you put out there comes back to you. I think it's the ripple effect.
Yep.
it doesn't matter where you go on a pond. If you throw a rock in it, that ripple is going to come to you anywhere on that pond. So it doesn't no matter where you move. If you throw a stone in or a rock into that pond, you can try and run anywhere on that pond, but that ripple's coming to get you. So I think, you know, if you look at celebrating other people's successes and complimenting other people, and that's going to that ripple effect is going to take place for sure. So great point.
And it might as well be chocolate ripple, eh, brother?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's coming summertime. It's my favorite time in the world for ice cream. So I got to take it. I got to take it a little slow though.
Just remember, it's a dopamine hit. It's not serotonin.
No, I know. But you know what? I'm not going to beat myself up for a little dopamine.
Here and there, here and there.
Yeah. So thank you so much. Pat Grass is on here.
Yippee!
Patty, Patty, Patty.
Hello, hello. How are you guys?
There you are.
Good to see
Okay.
you.
Yeah, it's good to be on. So Lori, I just wanted to chime into what you said about the lady and her story and her spazzy workout. My thought was what attracted you to that was her vulnerability and authenticity. And I think we forget how important that can be. And I'm saying that more as a reminder to myself than anybody else, because I need to start doing reels and I don't want to do them because I don't want to look like a fool, but I know I have to, I know I need to, and I know that's where my growth will be. So I just have to buck up and be authentic and spazzy if that's what it takes.
Oh my
because
gosh, you will make
because-
so many people smile if you do.
that attracted you to that lady. Like you respected her for her genuineness, right? Like that's my
100%.
suspicion. Yeah. So
100%.
I just wanted to kind of accentuate that point a little bit to remind people that it's okay to be spazzy. It's okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. And you know
Yeah.
what? She gave me my smile for the day. And
Perfect.
I'm pretty sure that was a serotonin hit.
There you go. There you go.
Well, I think vulnerability is powerful, Pat. I think it's very powerful. And we've seen, you know, we've all experienced when somebody that we know or care about is vulnerable, how powerful that is for you. And so, you know, whether you're spazzy or vulnerable, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
it's powerful. And I think just being real, you'll kill it, girl. You should just do it. Like,
I know. I have to just get over myself and put my mental blocks aside. I've turned these reels into an absolute monster that I know I've just turned it into something far bigger than it needs to be. And I just have to just freaking do it. And
I'll go
do
back and
one or
watch that
two.
video again. Go on and watch
Yeah.
the Marcus Aurelius video again.
Yeah, I just have to do one or two, I think, and then, you know, it'll get easier after that. But it's just that original, that first hurdle isn't a little hurdle. It feels like a 10-foot wall to climb. But
Yeah.
I've got to decide that it's okay to not be perfect, and just, you know, step up and be a human being. Just be a human being. That's all we have to do. is be a human
100%.
being.
And I know you can overcome them because I've seen some things that you've overcome. And
Yeah.
I know that, you know, you were afraid of, you know, swimming and the lake water and so on. And you broke through that fear up at the lodge. And you
Hey,
jumped.
and there's always the option of putting a bag on your head.
You know,
The unknown-
Lori, you
the
might have
unknown
just
reeler.
given me an idea for a reel.
The unknown reeler.
What was that guy? What was that guy on Gene
The
Gene's
unknown
Dance
comic.
Machine?
The unknown
The
comic.
unknown comic. Oh my gosh, I wonder if anybody on this call remembers that. The Gong Show was what it was on.
Yeah. Crazy. So, yeah, I think Agnes Lamers, are you on here? I think you're unmuted.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Agnes. What are you doing? What do you got for us?
Well, I really liked what Karen was saying about making sure that you do those 15-minute things and that you're really happy that you've gone those 15-minute chunks, whether it's 1 or 2 or 5, whatever you get in for the day. I think
Yeah.
that's really good. And not everybody can work all day, right? So yeah, do what you can and keep plugging away.
Yeah, and things come up in your day, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Things change direction and things happen. So,
Yeah.
15-minute chunks, half-hour chunks, I think are awesome. and then add on to those 15 or half-hour chunks whenever you can, right?
Yes, yes.
Agnes Lamers is a worker bee like nobody I know. And I strive to be like her when I grow up.
Good for you.
Uh,
That's awesome. Thank you, Agnes, for sharing. That was
Yep.
awesome. Great point. BJ, oh, good to see BJ on here. Go ahead, BJ. You have to unmute.
Yep, I'm trying.
There you go.
Trying to do my camera too while we're doing the garden here at night. But okay, so my question was, first of all, thank you for doing this, Terry and Lori. This is great.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
It was my sister's idea. We watched it and I'm like, what can we do that's different that will help the field rather than, I mean, I love doing the, associate in the spotlight and hearing from each associate on what they're doing and so on, because we all got something to add. But certainly when Lori and I watched this video, it was her idea to say this, that we thought that the field could motivate and help them with self-discipline. So yeah, so thank you for that, BJ.
It's a good reminder. So when you all mention about delayed gratification, I don't really understand what that is. Can you explain that? And especially with the Vox life.
Okay, so I think with delayed gratification, my dad was the worst at delayed gratification. We had a phenomenal family business, but instead of waiting until the business got rolling, he would go and use the bank's money and buy whatever because he wanted it now. And he didn't have the personal income to do it now, but because he wanted the boat now, or he wanted the this now, he would go and leverage everybody else at work because able to postpone gratification. He needed it now. And so I think when it comes to Vox Life, we all want that gratification of being a 10, or a 6-figure earner right away. And truly, we have to look at it and say, well, what have we done? What little things have we put away? How are we, living? What are we doing to be able to get to that point of gratification where when we do buy something or share something or something, we've actually achieved it. We've actually earned it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so it's like a matter of being patient. Sorry, I'm moving here. Sorry about that. It's a matter of being patient.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's doing the work first, BJ.
Yeah.
And I mean, let's face it, if you're not self-disciplined, or if you can't postpone gratification, in other words, if you're on a diet and you have a 3-scoop ice cream cone, you're not really postponing gratification. Like, why don't you lose the weight first so you can get in jeans first?
Yeah.
Right? Like Marcus Aurelius said, and then celebrate with an ice cream cone or whatever it is. And that's just a simple analogy. But there's so many times that I think people want it now, so they go to the bank and they want this and they want that, and they don't have the patience to do the work first to to reward themselves. That's what I think that postponing gratification is all about.
So I think,
go ahead, Laura. I'm sorry.
I think something that you might understand that I understand after lots of years of trying to apply it is I have learned to abase and I have learned to abound. And in both those circumstances, we're being looked after. Whatever the purpose in that is, there is purpose in it. So I would say eyes wide open, and we kind of know when we do some introspection, whether or not, like, I refer you to Candy Scott's post from today, and I know a number of people saw it, but her post, the essence of it was, just show up and keep showing up, basically. And, you may have to reevaluate what your personal circumstances are and what they allow you to do. But, it's the old frog in the stork's mouth. Never give up.
That's a good one. That's a good one. So I was also, when you were saying that, Terry, I was thinking of the 4-year career, which has been more stretched out to like the 6-year career.
Sure.
Thanks to COVID.
And that's okay. And that's okay, because you know what? We're all still here. and we got an amazing, amazing culture. I never ever dreamt in my life I would have a culture of such amazing people to share my life's journey with, and share a product that is,
Yes.
you know, truly, whoever thought of that? I didn't think of that. I mean,
Yeah.
think of that blessing. So I try to live in gratitude every day
Mhm.
with that. And, you know, I don't need planes, trains, and automobiles, so to speak.
Yeah.
But my gratification for this is going out and doing the work, right? So I can't expect to have gratification if I'm not doing the work, right? You got to get
Mhm.
out and put seeds into the ground and get out into the field and so on. So,
Yes.
oh, Paul said Terry just needs a lodge. Well, Paul, I'm going to tell you something.
I think he's got one.
When I was 30, I bought that lodge in 1995, so I was 34 years old, and I seriously did not have $1,000 in the bank. I did not have $1,000, but you figure out a way. So, you know, I was able to figure out a way to have this place so that I could share it with other people too. Like not mine. I mean, the good Lord says we're just renting it from Him, so to speak. So,
Mhm.
you know, I think that my purpose, you know, my focus was figure out a way how to do this. And the beautiful lady that I bought it from and her husband, beautiful French people like Jeanette, were just incredible people. And I never thought in a million years she would take back a mortgage. And she took back a mortgage at 8%, totally open, no penalty, no nothing.
Wow.
And so, you know, you figure away all the things that we do in life. We just gotta, I mean, you've all heard me say everything's figure outable, right? Just get out and figure a way to do things, and what's your purpose. And when you do those efforts, you know, that gratification is going to be there, BJ. And you don't need it right away, you know, just come, just float a little bit, it's there. And so the gratification will come. It's just that element of patience, I think, that is such a key element to enjoying gratification on a higher level.
Great.
And you
Thank you
know
for
what? I think, you know, we might just see a bit of a breakthrough when we hear what Jay has to say on the call this week. I mean, if anybody's been wanting a breakthrough in terms of validation of our tech, it's Jay. And he's been at it even longer than all of us. So I'm grateful to him for staying with it. And he's a great role model to all of us for that very thing. And Terry, we know that he was on his heels for a lot of years, but he came back, you know, with a vengeance. And I'm really excited. I have no clue what he's going to share on Thursday night, but let's all be there. And let's bring somebody.
That's a great point. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great point on Thursday night. So, well, listen, guys, that was I thought that was only going to be a half-hour call. I'm so excited everybody chimed in. It's so, and you know what? I've been doing this now for almost 6 years, and I still get nervous every time I do it. So, Patty Grass, don't worry about it. Just do it, and doesn't matter whether you're nervous. It doesn't matter whether you know are not confident. You just do it. It doesn't matter. And I love to have the support of my sister, and love to have the support of all you guys on here. It just makes for, and you know, Karen Smith said, program these calls into your weekly DMO, and make sure you get on, because what you do, your teammates are going to do. And so if you're leading by example, then they're going to get on these calls. So let me just stop.
Can I just add one more thing before we hang up? Because this was a really cool thing that happened to me today. Okay. Michelle Curry is a Vox Life associate, and I did an event with her going back, and I sort of lost touch a little bit with Michelle. And in the meantime, she's had another wee one, and I was so excited to see that she has a little boy, 2 years old, and then she added a little girl to her family, and I was thrilled. So I was commenting on, you know, the fact that she had a new little bubs in the house, and she reached out to me through Messenger today, and she said, Lori, thanks for being excited for our little family. What is it that I can celebrate with you? And I just was so gobsmacked about that. I just thought, isn't that the sweetest gesture ever? I mean, that lady's probably getting up through the night with this little peanut. So I just share that because there's a lot that's wrong in the world right now, but wow, there's some beautiful people out there. And just a shout out to Michelle for that reach out.
Absolutely. We have all had an amazing contribution in as difficult as it has been these last 2 years with COVID. And it's been difficult on more levels than just walks. It's been difficult on so many levels. And I just want to congratulate everybody.
Yeah.
Being here and still doing the do. And, I think that, I don't know if anybody else feels this, but I feel like our Vox Life product's becoming a brand. And I think people are starting to realize, and I remember Nike took 10 years to build as a brand. And we're just going into 6 in June. So we got lots of work to do. But what else would we be doing, right? So might as well help the world, right? What better purpose than that? So, Heather, we got to fish, but if we're fishing, we got to have our tech on, right? You cannot fish without being in a state of mind, right? So, but no, so thank you all so much for being on the call, and appreciate it. And if we come across any more good things like this, I think it's beneficial for all of us to, and if anybody finds something that you think is beneficial to the field, please forward it to me or my sister, and we can share it with the field, and I can make you a co-host or whatever. I don't want to necessarily have to do this and feel like I'm hogging the screen or hogging the training every week. I'm happy to let somebody else lead for any night that you want. So,
and you can wear
thank you all for being here. Appreciate it so much. And